Just 2 days before the 70th anniversary of the founding of the United Nations, Charlottesville got its own taste of international affairs.
Tonight, Ambassador Thomas Pickering appears at the United Nations Association Blue Ridge chapter here in Charlottesville. Ambassador Pickering was not only the United States ambassador to the UN, but also helped lead a State Department investigation into the terrorist attacks in Benghazi, Libya in 2012.
Ambassador Pickering.
Ambassador Pickering spoke about the history of the UN, formed after World War II during a period of great international strife and uncertainty.
And it became, in a sense, for that period of time, the club of the victors of the Second World War, joined by those who, one way or another, did not play a major part in that war, but were nevertheless attached to the idea that there could be a strong international organization to help them.
I was able to sit down one-on-one with the ambassador to ask a few more in-depth questions.
I wanted to start off and kind of see, with all of your expertise, what do you see as the biggest national security threat today?
Well, I think that there are several. I think that certainly Russia, with all its nuclear weapons, is something we shouldn't let slide by and not think about. People have been concerned about China. I feel less urgency about that than I do in Mr. Putin's Russia. And then I think we faced a whole host of problems in the Middle East.
Ambassador Pickering knows a lot about the Russian threat after serving as the ambassador to Russia from 1993 to 1996. But a lot has changed since then.
How has our relationship with Russia changed? Obviously, it's a different ballgame now.
Well, I think a lot of it is personally Mr. Putin's own views. Putin, on the one hand, feels ignored. On the other hand, a little bit, I think, uncertain about his ability to continue in Russia.
And with this interview occurring at the same exact moment that Hillary Clinton was providing testimony on Capitol Hill relating to Benghazi, I had to ask the ambassador about the report he wrote.
I'll take you back a few years. You were one of the lead investigators into the attacks in Benghazi, and you submitted a report with Admiral Mullen, had 29 recommendations, and you said that at the time that Secretary Clinton and Secretary Kerry were committed to implementing those. A few years later now, do you feel like a lot of those recommendations have been implemented to your liking?
I think a lot of them have. For example, the construction plans that were approved earlier but never carried out for improving the security in our missions overseas ought to be speeded up and put in place. Well, until the Congress gives them the money, that's not going to happen.
Charlottesville members of the United Nations Association were thrilled to interact with the ambassador and hear from the inside what it was like to be a part of the UN. Nora Neus, Cavalier Daily, Charlottesville, Virginia.